from Monrovia, the nation's capital. It has been quite. It started off on a very wet note, a very inclement weather, lightning and thunder, like the gospel song, Heaven and Earth. Oh, I hate lightning and thunder. I can't stand it. And there was one, was it around 4 or 5 this morning? Oh, a blasted current went off immediately. The house shook. Hearts pounded. Humans checked. When you see that happening, it is signaling the change of climate. Seasonal change, switching from rainy to dry, bit by bit. But we are here. This is the OK Conversation on OKFM 99.5 at 4 p.m. It's been quite a while since we last spoke to folks from the Alternative National Congress of Alexander Benedict Cummings. We'll be hearing from folks from the ANC. We understand they have a convention coming up. Everything surrounding it, politics of the day and everything else in between. Former President George Weah jetted into the country a couple of days ago. He returned to a mammoth welcome, playing what I would call a commentary role. Was former Representative Moses Akaros Gray. Former President Weah's 9th Street home was gutted partially last night. Everything on the cards. Akaros will be here at 5 p.m. Talk about all of those. Before that, we'll give you more updates and analysis from the United Nations General Assembly. And so many other things happening in our country. This is the OK Conversation. You're in safe hands. Never ever try to do that. Let's take a break right here with some of our sponsors. Today is what? Wednesday? Oh, okay. That means we have fact check as well. So first of all, let's take our break with some of our sponsors. So people didn't do what they needed to do. Okay, yeah. So we will take our break. We will not do that other thing. We should have done it, but we will not. But that's okay.
Things are on me, with the emergency. How do I manage again?
Potano, why are you sitting here just talking by yourself?
Julie, I need money quick. I want to go find somebody to credit me. Then I will pay them as soon as I get paid with the more in.
EcoBank can credit you, but the only thing you have to pay in 1 month, and the good thing, the interest are just 3%.
For you?
Yeah, just go to any EcoBank branch and you ask for the form to enroll you on their salary advance platform. When they give you the form, you fill it up and you make sure your HR sign it. Then you take that form back to the bank. After you carry it to the bank, they will send you a message to let you know that you're already on the platform. Then you can use the *326# and request for 50% of your salary. Instantly, you will receive it.
Wow, just like that? Break edit to more money, Judy. I'm going to the bank to pick up the phone quick.
Yo, go get the form quick. In less than 1 week, you will receive the money. And what I like about it, they can even ask you for collateral set.
I go with there right now. No wasting time, oh.
I'm not saying you must not go there right now. You must make sure you pay the bank money back.
Hey, Judy, that you talking slow, so I will pay back quick so I can credit again. EcoBank na easy o. EcoBank, the Pan-African Bank.
Mama, who takes care of development in our country?
We all do, my baby. You see, every time we pay our taxes, we are taking care of our country, Mama Liberia. Taxes help provide clean water, safe communities, and jobs for our people. When you pay your tax, Liberia grows.
Be proud, be responsible. Pay your taxes for a better Liberia. Pay tax, we all enjoy.
What's making news across the continent? Malawi's president, we will come to that. That will be the final story. I want to read full stuff on Pete Mutharika. But Uganda's Electoral Commission has declared President Yoweri Museveni a duly nominated candidate for the 2026 presidential election. The 81-year-old who has ruled since 1986. The year I was born was the year he became president, and he is still president. Is seeking a 7th term. Addressing supporters on Tuesday, Museveni urged voters to back his vision of wealth creation programs, free public education, and tougher crime measures. Meanwhile, opposition leaders including Robert Kyagulanyi, better known as Bobby Wine, are scheduled to file their nominations today in a bid to challenge Museveni. The U.S. mission in Nigeria says high-profile individuals engaging in corruption can be barred from entering the United States as part of its corruption crackdown. In a post on X, the U.S. mission in Nigeria said there is no border limitation to the fight against corruption, reiterating the need to hold corrupt officials accountable. The disclosure has drawn mixed reactions from Nigerians, with some urging the U.S. to back the warning with action. Okay. Let's go to Malawi. I have an article here to read from the BBC. An interesting article that puts into perspectives Pete Mutharika. So let's see. Yeah. Okay. Share the video, invite others to join in. Okay, so you need to know that the president of Malawi, Lazarus Chakwera, has conceded defeat to Pete Mutharika. So just 5 years after being dramatically unseated by a court ruling, Pete Mutharika is set to return to power as the president of Malawi. Yeah? Let's go. I'm reading an article from the BBC titled "You Missed Me," right? The Malawian ex-president who pulled off a surprise comeback. Mutharika, who held the top job from 2014 to 2020, seems to have triumphed in last week's general election, usurping his longtime rival, President Lazarus Chakwera. Mutharika told voters on the campaign trail that life was simply better under him. Malawi has experienced one of its worst ever economic downturns since Chakwera took office. Economic issues. But the record of 85-year-old Mutharika has its own blemishes. You know what blemish is? It's a problem. It's an issue. It's a blot. B-L-O-T. Not B-L-O-D. But they say, but the record of 85-year-old Mutharika has its own blemishes, from corruption allegations to the debacle that ended his first presidency. So the man who won again also had issues, corruption allegations. You remember when Lazarus Chakwera came to power? We played some of his stuff here. It was about corruption fight, cracking down on people. But then the economy hasn't done well. This is the fourth time he has run for office, but initially Mutharika did not intend to go into politics. Born in 1940 in the tea-growing region of Tiolo, he was raised by two teachers and developed a love for education. I grew up in a family where my parents were educators, and myself, I spent all my life in higher education at 7 universities on 3 continents. Mutharika commented in 2017 during an address at the UK's Oxford University. He attended Dedza Secondary School, an institution in central Malawi known for nurturing notable politicians, and studied law in the 1960s at the prestigious Yale University in the US. Mutharika went on to become a professor, building an expertise in international justice. He spent decades away from Malawi, teaching at universities in the US, Tanzania, Uganda, and Ethiopia. Mutharika eventually pivoted to politics in 2004 when his older brother Bingu, you remember Bingu wa Mutharika? Yeah. Bingu became Malawi's president. Mutharika returned home to serve as an advisor to the new president, and in 2009 he was elected as an MP for the ruling Democratic Progressive Party, DPP. He served in his brother's cabinet as Justice Minister, Education Minister, and then Foreign Minister. Mutharika scaled the heights of power relatively peacefully, but tensions emerged in 2010 amid reports that Bingu planned to name his brother as the DPP's presidential candidate for the 2014 elections. Every week, chiefs from all over the country are paraded on national television to sing praises of Peter Mutharika. Many of the public are outraged considering this blatant nepotism. Malawian journalist Francis Chuma wrote in The Guardian. But the succession plans were abruptly interrupted in April 2012. At the age of 78, the president suffered a cardiac arrest and died. Mutharika paid a glowing tribute to the late leader at his funeral, describing him as my brother, my friend, and also my hero. With the presidency vacant, a power struggle ensued. Malawi's constitution stipulated that if the head of state dies in office, the vice president takes over, but Bingu have fallen out with his vice president Joyce Banda over the controversial plans to install his brother. The DPP had expelled Banda, who subsequently formed a new party, the People's Party, but refused to step down as vice president. When the president died, his supporters tried to install Mutharika as leader in defiance of the constitution, but ultimately Banda prevailed and became Malawi's first female president. Mutharika was charged with treason, and that's after being accused of being part of a plot to hide his brother's death to give him time to maneuver to keep Banda out of the presidency. He dismissed the charges as frivolous and politically motivated, and they were dropped after he was elected president in 2014, defeating Banda and Chakwera with just over 36. By the time he left it had shrunk to single digits. But Mutharika's tenure also saw blackouts, food shortages, and more of the corruption scandals that have long plagued Malawian politics. In 2018, Malawi's anti-corruption agency accused Mutharika of receiving a kickback from a 2.8 billion kwacha, that's $1.6 million contract to supply food to the police. Malawians took to the streets to protest, but he was later cleared of any wrongdoing. He has regularly defended himself as a proponent of the fight against corruption and extravagance, telling the BBC in 2015 that he was the only president in Africa that travels commercial. Although Mutharika weathered the corruption allegations, he ended up losing the presidency in one of the most dramatic moments in Malawi's political history. Mutharika ran for a second term in 2019, and after the votes were counted, he was declared victor. However, the Constitutional Court later annulled the election, saying there had been widespread tampering, including the use of Tip X correction fluid on results sheets. Commentators mockingly referred to Mutharika as the Tip X president. Judges ordered a rerun for 2020, and astonishingly, Chakwera won with 59% of the vote. Although Mutharika branded a rerun unacceptable, the Constitutional Court gained international acclaim for safeguarding democracy and refusing to be influenced by presidential power. He suggested he would not run for office again, but surprised many by entering this year's presidential race, saying his supporters wanted him to save the country from Chakwera. Since Mutharika left office, inflation has soared past 30%. Cyclone Freddy, a promising drought, dwindling foreign reserves, and other factors have pushed many Malawians into extreme poverty. During campaign speeches this year, Mutharika asked the public in the local Chichewa language, "Monadi sowa eti, moakola eti." You miss me, right? That's the translation. You miss me, right? You have suffered, right? But Mutharika was rarely seen in public during the campaign, in contrast to Chakwera, who held numerous rallies across Malawi. As a result, speculation about Mutharika's health is rife, and there are questions about whether he has the stamina to leave Malawi again at the age of 85. Regardless, voters have put their trust in him, and he even triumphed in areas known to be Chakwera strongholds, such as the capital Lilongwe and Kota. While his political career has been eventful, Mutharika's personal life is relatively quiet. The AFP news agency describes him as reserved. Voice of Africa's Mail and Guardian wrote that friends say he is a studious man, more at ease with books than political rallies. Mutharika has 3 children from his first wife, Christophine, who died in 1990. In June 2014, he married former DPP parliamentarian Getru Masiko. The couple are set to return to the presidential residence, but this time Mutharika's entry will be far weightier. Many Malawians have indeed suffered, as Mutharika noted in his campaign speeches. So once the dust from his unlikely comeback settles, the nation will be watching keenly to see if he makes good on his pledge to take them back to better times. That is an article by the BBC. Are there too many likelihoods there? I don't know. So let's take our fact check. I hope it is here. Let's take the fact check. It was important to read that article. I'm not explaining anything. It is up to you. 85 years old. That's what I'm saying. 85. You know, so you can sit down and say, "Oh, President Bwaga will not run again." Okay, say no budget. Eh? You already say, "Oh, President Bwaga will not run again." President Bwaga, no problem. Okay, let's watch. We are here. Okay. A whole lot of things are happening, and so we know that the University of Liberia and the Liberia Water and Sewer Corporation have announced a groundbreaking partnership to renovate all of UL's bathrooms across its Capitol Hill, Fender, and Health Sciences campuses. So all of the campuses of the UL, WSC, and UL have entered a partnership so that LWSC can do the renovation and all of that. That's a good thing to hear. But it is one thing to fix these places, it is another thing to maintain, and that's where the problem always is. But I have seen in too many public places, in fact in a whole lot of places, people do not really take care of bathrooms, and it says a whole lot about you, about cleanliness and dirtiness. If you cannot take care of bathrooms. A whole lot of these university campuses, even the private ones, you go there, the bathrooms are terrible. People, sometimes water is there, and people use them and they don't flush after themselves. Yeah, terrible. You go to some of the things you see, very terrible. So I'll just leave it there. So maintenance is also an important thing. The CSA has done, they say they've identified systemic challenges within the judiciary. Hopefully tomorrow we can go through that. I think I have the report. We'll leave the fire issue. Akaras is coming at 5. We'll talk about that. Let's go to the, since we're still on UL matters, let's go to the U.S. Embassy near Monrovia, where they released a statement earlier this morning. Chargé d'affaires, that's how we will say. So Chargé Zadrozny met with the president of the University of Liberia to discuss shared priorities and opportunities to strengthen collaboration. Their conversation emphasized opportunities to connect the U.S. alumni network with the University of Liberia and to amplify messaging around shared priorities. They also highlighted how education supports innovation and prepares graduates to contribute to Liberia's economic growth and long-term prosperity. The United States values the university's leadership. In shaping the next generation and looks forward to continued engagement in support of shared goals. The United States values the university's leadership. So you can see student groupings, especially SUP on campus, they've been calling for Dr. Mapaya, who is an American citizen, Lily Mapaya, to resign. And we're asking the embassy to come take their citizen, all of that. The embassy says the United States values the university's leadership, and they're trying to see how well issues of support to the institution, innovation, and preparing graduates to contribute to Liberia's economic growth are highlighted. So let's see what happens. But clearly, there is dissatisfaction. There are issues on campus. We hope to see them becoming resolved. Let's go to the Ministry of Finance and Development Planning. Yesterday we spoke with one of the assistant ministers there, Assistant Minister Yankwe, and he told us about this group being in town, the Millennium Challenge Corporation's team that is in town. That got in there before yesterday. What they will be doing, so they kicked off their activities today, and the ministry issued a release. I'll read a portion of it. They always have these long releases, and sometimes you hardly see where the news is, but that's okay. Entities should not be writing long releases. Releases are long, especially in social media. 4-5 paragraphs, okay. The message should be there. The visiting high-level team from the Millennium Challenge Corporation MCC, led by Madam Karim Mohnaha, Managing Director for Africa, on Wednesday began assessing the constraints to growth analysis facing the Liberian economy as part of ongoing efforts to evaluate the country's eligibility for a second MCC compact. The visit includes engagements with key government ministries, agencies, and private sector stakeholders. The delegation's visit began with a meeting at the Ministry of Finance and Development Planning, where Madam Monaha expressed appreciation for the warm reception and highlighted the importance of MCC's continued partnership with Liberia. On behalf of the Millennium Challenge Corporation, I would like to thank all of you for the very warm welcome we have received since we arrived in Liberia, said Madam Monaha. From the moment we landed on Monday, the minister personally welcomed us, and our visit so far has been truly remarkable. She praised the ministry's coordination in arranging a comprehensive and productive agenda for the week, noting the delegation's eagerness to engage with Liberia's development institutions and partners. Okay. We are extremely proud. I'm trying to jump up between. We are extremely proud of the long history of partnership between our two countries and the important work we accomplished together during Compact 1, she said. The fact that MCC's board is considering Liberia for a second Compact is a strong testament to the results we achieved together. She added that this recognition reflects Liberia's demonstrated leadership, commitment to reform, and active engagement in its own development path. Throughout the week, the MCC delegation will engage with a broad range of stakeholders to better understand the key constraints to inclusive economic growth in Liberia, and blah 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 and blah blah blah. So that is that. That is that. We move on. We move on to the United Nations General Assembly. Shortly, I will call somebody. Let me clear around a whole lot of things. Shortly, I will call somebody to help us analyze President Joseph Boakai's speech at the UNGA. So, at the UNGA, we will go to First Lady, even though there's a side event file from the UNGA, but First Lady Katumu Boakai has called on international partners, builders, and others to join hands in turning her vision of a healthier, more resilient Liberia into reality. A release from Executive Mansion Liberia says she highlighted alarming maternal and child mortality rates, underscoring the urgency of action despite ongoing efforts in the health sector. The challenges are enormous, and while progress has been made, far too many mothers and children are still being lost, the First Lady said. This is why partnership is not an option, it is a necessity. I did not come tonight only to tell Liberia's story. I came to ask you to be part of it, she added. In response, Ms. Stein Hansen Totten, Chief Executive Officer of Woods System of Care, expressed strong support for the First Lady's vision and pledged to work with her office to advance critical health and development initiatives in Liberia. Liberia's story is one of resilience and determination, Hansen Totten said. We are committed to working alongside the First Lady in her mission to improve lives and create lasting change, she said. Yeah, so they spoke at the TUF-ish 2025 in Philadelphia, there in the United States of America, trying to quote support for her own initiatives as First Lady of the country. We also know that on yesterday, President Joseph Boakai, according to the Executive Mansion, held a bilateral meeting with United Nations Secretary General Antonio Guterres on the sidelines of the 80th United Nations General Assembly in New York. They exchanged views on peace, reconciliation, sustainable development, and Liberia's new role as a non-permanent member of the UN Security Council. Secretary General Guterres commended Liberia's long-standing generosity toward refugees and displaced populations, citing his personal experience in the country. He congratulated President Boakai on Liberia's election to the Security Council and pledged the United Nations' full support to Liberia's initiatives in peace building, reconciliation, and sustainable development. He emphasized the country's readiness to align its country's team's efforts with Liberia's national priorities, including economic diplomacy, environmental protection, and social development. President Boakai, for his part, highlighted Liberia's position on peace, justice, and reconciliation, noting the importance of implementing recommendations of the Truth and Reconciliation Commission, including the support for the establishment of a War and Economic Crimes Court. He emphasized Liberia's dedication to addressing climate change, highlighting that the country holds nearly half of West Africa's remaining rainforest, and stressed the need for international partnerships to protect this global resource. The Liberian leader further outlined his administration's focus on economic diplomacy to ensure that natural resources are managed transparently and equitably for the benefit of all Liberians. He highlighted his government's arrest agenda, highlighting areas such as agriculture, education, health, sanitation, tourism, and youth development, while underscoring the importance of international cooperation in bridging gaps left by past challenges. Okay. Good. So let's go to the ECOWAS Parliament. You know, they're having some exercises going on in Port Harcourt, Nigeria. There's this story that talks about ECOWAS Parliament, Ghana facing embarrassment over omission of third Deputy Speaker from delegation. The Republic of Ghana is on the brink of an international diplomatic setback, with reports revealing that its newly recomposed list to the Economic Community of West African States Parliament has shockingly excluded the name of third Deputy Speaker Alexander Kwamina Afenyo-Makin. This omission could risk Ghana's participation in the upcoming ECOWAS Parliament session that's scheduled for Thursday, September 25, 2025. Let's see how that will play out. Newsbulletin24.com investigations have uncovered that despite Afenyo-Makin having already been sworn in, his name is absent from the list forwarded to the ECOWAS Parliament, which contradicts the stipulations of the Supplementary Act. Sources within the ECOWAS Parliament have remained tight-lipped when approached for comment on the issue. With the clock ticking, Ghana's Parliament now faces a race against time to rectify the situation and ensure Afenyo-Makin's inclusion. If the error is not corrected by 10 a.m. Thursday, September 25, 2025, the country risks its new members failing to be sworn in, which will lead to a significant diplomatic embarrassment for Ghana on the continental stage. Behind the scenes, there have been multiple high-level meetings in an attempt to resolve the matter, but so far, no solution has been found. Okay, the ECOWAS Parliament is meeting there on. We read yesterday about the issues about AR. So the members of Parliament and the experts are strategizing in Port Harcourt to tackle the risks associated with AI. That was what the activities were about on yesterday. Yep. Okay. Okay, so yeah, that's what it is. Good. So the president also addressed the UN General Assembly on yesterday. Before that, U.S. President Donald Trump spoke. He said some things. Let me read one of them and I'll play one of them as well. Let me read one of what he said. He said, in the United States, we reject the idea that mass numbers of people from foreign lands can be permitted to travel halfway around the world, trample our borders, violate our sovereignty, cause unmitigated crime, and deplete our social safety net. We have reasserted that America belongs to the American people, and I encourage all countries to take their own stand in defense of their citizens as well. He also said this. Did my guy bring it? Okay, yeah, this is it. Let's listen to this as well. One of the things that he also said.
An escalator that on the way up stopped right in the middle. I ended 7 wars, dealt with the leaders of each and every one of these countries, and never even received a phone call from the United Nations offering to help in finalizing the deal. All I got from the United Nations was an escalator that on the way up stopped right in the middle. If the First Lady wasn't in great shape, she would have fallen, but she's in great shape. We're both in good shape. We both stood. And then a teleprompter that didn't work. These are the two things I got from the United Nations, a bad escalator and a bad teleprompter. Thank you very much. And by the way, it's working now. It just went on. Thank you. I think I should just do it the other way. It's easier. Thank you very much. I didn't think of it at the time because I was too busy working to save millions of lives. That is the saving and stopping of these wars. The UN has such tremendous potential. I've always said it. It has such tremendous, tremendous potential, but it's not even coming close to living up to that potential. For the most part, at least for now, all they seem to do is write a really strongly worded letter and then never follow that letter up. It's empty words, and empty words don't solve war. The only thing that solves war and wars is action.
Okay, so he was talking about the issue with the escalator at the UN, the teleprompter going off as well. This is another interesting clip. Let me play this one for you before we call our analyst, our diplomatic analyst, to take us through President Bouakar's speech. But Trump said this. We will come back to all of these, so please, take note.
Plain to see. If you want freedom, take pride in your country. If you want democracy, hold on to your sovereignty. And if you want peace, love your nation. Wise leaders always put the good of their own people and their own country first. The future belongs to sovereign and independent nations who protect their citizens, respect their neighbors, and honor the differences that make each country special and unique.
Okay, good. Very, very interesting there. So let's go. Let's now speak with George Wisner. The ramifications of President Joseph Bouakar's speech at the United Nations General Assembly. This is the OK Conversation on OKFM 99.5. Let's speak with George. It's been a little while since we last spoke with him on the show. Welcome to the OK Conversation, George Wisner.
Thank you very much, Julius.
It's been quite a while, like I said, since we last spoke to you.
Yes, well, I've been around taking care of my own business, call money or score, and doing what we have to do. But it's good talking to you, and it's good talking to the people of Liberia. So I say good afternoon to everyone that is hearing me. It's been a long time since I was on the radio. The last time I was there with you, Julius, was when my friend and mentor, Crispy, died.
Yeah,
right?
yeah. That was it.
Yeah.
Good. So let's walk through the whole event of the UN General Assembly. What's your own analysis of it before we can come to the president's speech?
Well, I think this General Assembly is quite an interesting one. Let's not forget it's the 80th anniversary of the United Nations, so it has its own extra significance. But I've been following the speeches of some of the leaders. One of the most anticipated speech for me was that of President Trump. There were not much surprises there, but it was a little bit interesting the way in some cases he was less than diplomatic in some of his approaches, and the way it seemed as though America under him is drifting more and more toward unilateralism rather than multilateralism on many issues. It will appear as though Trump's perspective of the world being divided into cases of some of the newest European nations that have pledged to recognize the state of Palestine, that I was hoping to understand more details, and that was interesting, especially from the French president, And then another interesting one was the Ukraine's leader's speech, which was today, just a couple of hours, I think about an hour ago or so. That was also something I was looking forward to listening to, and from the Arab League. And then, of course, one of the most anticipated speeches was that of our president. You know,
Yeah, we'll come that. We'll come to that. But going back to Donald Trump, he seems to also be pushing countries to adopt more nationalism and governments to take care of themselves and take care of their people, you know, and all of that, and focus more on developing your country, being sovereign, being independent, and all that.
Yes, it's true, and this is what I referred to when I said that it seemed as though his global perspective, on international affairs is drifting more and more to whipping up nationalism as opposed to collaboration and multilateral frameworks. And that is not too surprising, because it also underscores and explains the reason why his approaches to global issues, whether it is the Palestinian and Israeli conflict, whether it is that of Ukraine and Russia, or even the climate crisis, the way his approach, from an American-centric point of view, but that aligns with what many people have feared about what is referred to in international parlance as America's exceptionalism, where, that sense that this is a global, powerful country, most superior, and America's first. And in such framework, it makes collaboration within the multilateral framework of the United Nations more difficult. But then again, that's President Trump. There is no surprises there.
Coming down to President Boakar's speech, he started off with congratulating the new president of the General Assembly. Then he goes to talking about the UN Security Council seat, which he says is not just for Liberia, but also the rest of Africa.
Yes, and Julius, it is interesting, and I'm glad that you have brought up President Boakar's speech. It's important as Liberians, and so that the nation understands first the context, and we can be proud of ourselves, because this is a very, very interesting time as far as global affairs is concerned. First of all, we should understand that President Boakar spoke within the context of Liberia on the eve of assuming a role as member of the United Nations Security Council. Therefore, as that country and the rest of the world were eager to follow, I'm sure, policy analysts in different countries and their diplomats were all ears to to get some hints about Liberia's policy direction, about Liberia's strategic approach as she assumes the Security Council in the next 4 months. Liberia begins in January. And so I want to believe that President Boakar and the handler of government, the foreign policy experts of government, had that in mind when they were penning his speech. And so he spoke within the context of Liberia now stepping a step forward, and Liberia now assuming a seat on the Security Council. So later on, I'm sure during our conversation, we can go on the substantive, but you, in a broader sense, you will analyze his speech from that context about how Liberia is going to approach world affairs, how the rest of the world should see Liberia, what are some of the policy direction, what are some of the strategies. It's with any country of Africa that assumes a role on the United Nations Security Council. Don't forget, the United Nations Security Council primary objective is to maintain peace and security in the world. And that is a loaded phraseology because it embodies a lot of things, from mediation in conflict situations, approval of peacekeeping rules, to humanitarian assistance, and a whole bunch of issues that affect global peace and security, including hunger, farming, poverty, and all of those issues. So this is a very, very huge task. Sierra Leone is just leading that seat. Liberia and DR Congo will be ascending to that role. So in a sense, Liberia and her counterparts in DR Congo will be represented, or are expected, let me use the word, are expected to represent in large part the views and aspirations of the African continent, especially so when we have our common continental bodies, and there are some issues that are what we call the African common positions. So there is an expectation that Liberia will champion the cause of Africa, and Liberia will espouse the African common position on critical global affairs. That's why, for me, it was no surprise that the president opened up his speech by reassuring the rest of the continent when he said that, if I will quote his words directly, he said, while the nameplate during this 2-year term will read Liberia, the seat, however, belongs to Africa. I think that is a powerful statement of reassurance. Now, going forward, what will be the strategy to ensure that that seat is an African seat depends on a whole bunch. But in that respect, I thought the president's speech and the president did well by affirming that, by bringing that to the forefront of his speech from the earliest position, so that it is clear to everyone, and it gives Liberia diplomatically a wiggle room, because there will come a time where there will be some very contentious issues, and those issues may, have serious consequences for nation states. So in that context, Liberia, I believe one of our strategy approach will be to put forth as a banner an African common position on some critical issues to shield itself. So I'm glad that from the get-go, the president's speech set forth to reassure the rest of Africa that even though Liberia name will be on the nameplate, but the seat is actually an Africa's seat. And you look at, go ahead, sorry.
Yeah, sure. So I just want to read 2 paragraphs that pivot from Africa to the rest of the world and the historical significance of the United Nations, where he says, when the UN was founded in 1945, nations came together in the belief that peace could only be secured through cooperation. After 2 world wars, it became a widely held conviction that nations are stronger when united than when divided. It seems to be a disagreement with Trump. Let me go further. 80 years later, that conviction is being tested like never before, from wars and displacements to terrorism, threats to technological advances, climate change, and widening inequalities. Today, our world faces challenges that no country can solve alone. At the same time, and paradoxically, when the world needs to strengthen multilateralism, its credibility and efficacy are being questioned. As one of only 4 African countries to sign the Charter of the United Nations, Liberia feels morally obligated to call for a renewal rather than a reversal of multilateralism. Reversal of multilateralism is not an option for a just and peaceful world. We call for greater inclusion, effectiveness, and respect for international law, recognizing that the credibility of the United Nations depends on our ability to act together in the service of humanity rather than apart in the pursuit of narrow interests. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
You want to comment on that?
Julius, in that you will see that the president is now unpacking and he is making a lot of policy hints about what Liberia will be focused on. So let's look at it one by one in what you read. Firstly, after reassuring Africa, the president now commits Liberia and his administration to multilateralism. That is reaffirming Liberia's faith and confidence in the United Nations and other multilateral approach to conflicts around the world and to common global issues, whether it is climate change or so. That is interesting because, like you said, Donald Trump's speech yesterday was quite the opposite. And the words seem to be, being polarized along this kind of ideological belief, whether the United Nations is still relevant or the United Nations is archaic. While Liberia affirms that the United Nations needs some form of reform, the president reaffirms Liberia's position, and that is the position I want to believe the policy hints of Liberia's 2 years on the United Nations Security Council is to reaffirm that confidence in the multilateral system. Liberia, the president also, from what you read, also affirms Liberia's commitment to the Paris Agreement on climate change. So Liberia lifted climate diplomacy as one of our approaches, but not only commitment to climate change, but Liberia also says on top of its commitment to climate change, Liberia will be pushing for climate justice. If you, read the president's speech, you will see that he said not only does he reaffirm given Liberia's experience with flooding and other situations, but he also believed, in like many African countries and developing countries, that those who are the polluters of the environment, the heavy polluters, whether it's China, the United States, in the industrialized world, should have some form of compensation rather than pressurizing countries like Liberia that has almost 40% of the remaining rainforest of the Guinea region and other countries to be in the forefront of cutting greenhouse emission. There should be some kind of justice and fairness in that department. So the president raised the issue of commitment to climate change, but at the same time, Liberia's commitment to climate justice. Also, the president advocated, in his speech, he talks about international finance and development.
Yeah, let me just read that part, and that's where I will end off with you because our guests are here, and we need to let you go. But he says here, Madam President, Excellencies, 2 minutes, developing nations spend more on debt servicing than on health or education. The current international financial architecture is unresponsive to this reality, making it not only outdated but also unjust and defiant of the objectives of shared prosperity and development, the pursuit of which the United Nations was also created. Liberia therefore joins the Global South in calling for urgent reforms to the international financial architecture to ensure fair representation, a new approach to debt servicing and financing that supports sustainable development. Shared prosperity requires a system that truly leaves no nation behind.
Yes, Julius, I know your guest is there. This is quite interesting because, the whole goal of international finance and development following World War II and the rebuilding of Europe was to help developing countries to bridge the gap, the growing gap between the rich nations and the poorer nations. So it was to seek convergence. But after 80 years, we should ask ourselves whether much has been achieved in that respect. Many developing countries believe that one of the problems is that developing countries do not have strong voice or stronger voices on those powerful financial institutions that decides on these issues. So the president was saying, in order to resolve these things, the goal of international finance and development is still relevant. However, the international financial architecture should be structured to give greater voices as well, or equitable voices to third world countries. Now, let me just close fast, because this is the issue. Let me close fast to say that, Julius, as the president has listed all of these things, the devil now is in the details. The question now is, how is Liberia, what strategy Liberia has now going forward? Because some of those issues will be contentious. The world now has changed. The world has changed. You look at what is happening in Israel and between the Israelis and the Palestinians. You look at what is happening in Ukraine. You look at what is happening in Sudan, in the DR Congo. You know what is happening now with the tension between East and West, China and the West. How Liberia navigates is very, very critical. I will recommend to the government of Liberia, and the government has started to do so, as we prepare in the next 4 months to assume this permanent seat, which will in effect be a blessing as much as it can be a curse. We should set up a strong secretariat to assist the permanent representative, who is, in my mind, one of the most experienced and qualified Liberians that there could be, Mr. Louis Brown, who has his second stint there, but he needs to be ably assisted by a team, a secretariat, something like a think tank that will do the research. They will be composed of lawyers, diplomats, communication experts, and what you have. Public diplomacy also will be very, very critical for Liberia at this time. Mr. Brown, good enough, he's coming from Ministry of Information, so he combines that with public diplomacy, but he needs that extra team. I think the government of Liberia should invest more. Secondly, the government of Liberia should intensify our engagement with our African counterpart to ensure that in many instances we can have a wiggle room, championing the African common condition on certain issues. And also lastly, as Liberia pursue its own national interest, because the president highlighted that in the close of his speech when he talked about his arrest agenda and what he will be doing, that as Liberia pursues her interest, her national interest, Liberia will also be pragmatic and learn the balancing act to diplomacy, because you cannot dismiss the power and influence of the United States, neither can you ignore the growing rivalry between China and the US, between Russia and the rest. You know what is happening on the African continent. So it's a very, very delicate thing. Again, It is a blessing. I'm proud to be a Liberian at this time. It can be a blessing for us as well as it can be a curse for us, depending on how we approach it.
Josh Wisner, thanks so kindly for taking some time out on the OK conversation. We always appreciate it.
Thank you very much, Julius.
Okay, his name is Josh Wisner right there. 777-700 as our guests come in. 995-555-995-995. Let's hear you. Sudan, Rwanda change, Angola change, Burkina Faso change, etc. Liberia keep repeating things of the past and looking for different results. We in cycles. We don't want change. We only get vexed because it is not our political party, trouble me or women doing the very things we criticized. Achuis Cyrus says, championing security and peace while representing Africa but brutalizing your citizens back home. Make it make sense. Let's see. Some Liberia and Liberians left the chat when the last clip was played. 777-700 995 555 995 995 the numbers to call. Okay, let's see who's right here. Welcome. Let's hear you.
Yeah, good evening, Julius.
Go ahead.
You know, this is Winston K. Tagba, and I'll join you from Topo Village.
Go ahead.
You know what happening, brother, in this country is we gotta deal with the two political parties in Liberia. That is the CDC and without the Unity Party. In amongst that, the Unity Party and the CDC continue to exist. The progress of this country would not be achieved.
Oh.
Because
why will you say that?
The reason is these two groups are always after each other, and they are not seeing the country, first. They are very self, fighting each other, why the country is continuing to go down. You know what I'm saying? Why the country is going
down? Yeah, but that's political agitation. It is normal.
Liberia need to look after the back. And let's forget about these two political parties, CDC and Unity Party.
Is it possible? Is it possible, especially going to 20?
We can make it possible. They are causing too much havoc.
Okay. Thanks so kindly. Let's take other people. This person says the line you just read from President Trump's speech is quite inspiring. African leaders must take the stance in defense of their citizens, that is protecting and making meaningful use of natural resources for the benefit of every citizen, providing opportunities so as to discourage citizens from taking risks in search of outside for fortunes. And as Berle has written in that one, this person said perfect analysis, and I hope the government listens to George Wisner. Okay, let's take more calls. Before we switch over to our guests, don't forget we will do our voting. The Momo Heroes of Change stuff. So let's see who's on this end. Welcome, let's hear you.
Hello, Julius.
Yes, go ahead. Let's hear you.
I'm asking for Junction.
Go ahead.
Yeah, Julius, I listened to George Wisner just now. You know, I guess that I'm quietly listening to him. You see, Julius always say to all people that this country belongs to all of us. That's why I want is that John Brown in power or Wanda in power, whosoever come in power, anybody, they country belongs to all of us. You see, George Wisner analysis about the president or a judge in the United Nations. You see the way in which he was speaking. He spoke, and the analysis was very unique. But Jowiaka, the man, the analysis on Jowiaka, everywhere Jowiaka analysis, it was very, very different. But I've been listening to him recent time. When I listen to him, when he was there,
Chivo,
yeah,
you know the man are Unity Party, man.
Okay, so, and what I'm saying, so they want to tell that, you know, the United Party, they see benefit of Judah. I'm not lying to you, they country.
But besides him being a United Party person, he supported Cummings and all of that. But the things that he said, are they not objective? Are they not truthful?
Yeah. So all the other ones, Joanne used to go to the United Nations General Assembly. All the things Joanne used to say, none used to be correct. None used to be good.
No, but that's what the man used to say. The man used to say all the things that we are used to.
You used to hold the man when Joanne speak. He will get another say. When Clarence will get another say. Clarence will get another say. I always listen to the analysis about this kind of thing.
So we are telling the analysis was different. Now it is different.
Whoa, you are giving you back there. That's only sure. Check. We are first or General Assembly. Listen to the government when they analysis.
Yeah, but maybe there are different issues now. The different issues at different times.
You know, after the question down there, you try to play around if they tell them or that every country will start to help that citizen for the citizen to feed that saying that let me say our bronze fan no country. Already I say that the woman could love the country there. I don't go anywhere. If I get money, I won't go nowhere. Said you know. So you see, so they made it develop.
So no. If the American people give you free visa, so you should go America. You say no.
You know, if I go there to go to money, go to Canada, I say.
Oh, I thought you say you won't go anywhere.
What I'm saying is if the place, you said you are America, I will not go nowhere.
But thanks so kindly. Let's take a few more. I guess it's here. Where's the producer? I'm gonna get. Let's take a few more calls. Welcome. Let's hear you. Yes, go ahead.
Thank you, man. And I tell you from Travis.
Go ahead.
You know, I don't know. I'm interested in Trump's speech.
In what?
Donald Trump. What you say actually right. We need to think about that internally. You know, the last time I was thinking about, you see the high overpower bridge we're about to build? And it cost $36 million. So I was thinking, I said, so in 2 years, are we not able to raise $36 million in our own budget and do that overpower bridge? But we have to wait for 2 years for a spin-off fund before we do it. That's the thing that we have to take care of. I was saying internally. But we always look forward that mentality, that definitive mentality of the spin-off and no support. We always have that mindset. So we're not going nowhere. So we can do it right. We can raise for $15 million in our own budget. 2 years and we do some project right here. See the agriculture that SKD Boulevard, we are linking 2 street. How much it costs? And we cannot do that for 2 years time. But we are also waiting for external funds to do it. So we stay there forever, it will be like that. We will play so 5 years or 3 years in our national budget and do kind of project on our own. We can do it. But because that dependency mentality we have been waiting for hand out to come before we do it, so will remain there forever. Now another thing, I don't know the Unity Party security people, I don't know. The unit to about security there, all people first. But they are allowed to speak for their own perspective.
Okay. Thanks so kindly. Let's take just 2 more. What did I produce on? We need to do something to get the 777-995-555-995-995. Welcome. Let's hear you.
Julius, how are you? My name is Jonathan Akpan. I call from Pinsville.
Go ahead.
Julius, thank you very much for bringing Mr. Whisper to analyze President Bogai's speech. You know, there are some of us who don't know international relations. Some of us, we didn't even read the speech. Some of us have not heard it. But some of us laymen will just get a condemn and say Bogai did not say anything. But he said that he just lied. He just lied. Sometimes we need to pull the politics on one side and listen to the expertise. And besides that, let Frank Gibson know that even this going speech by President Donald Trump, according to the BBC, he overspent his time. And not only him, but before Joe Biden left, when he addressed the United Nations General Assembly, he too overstayed. So these are just things that are normal. So let Frank Gibson call now and say why did President Trump overstay. And don't want to talk about
you are concerned about Frank Gibson calling? You won't force the man to call now. The man won't leave today. You won't force the man to call.
No, let him call because he can only criticize his own. He can't criticize others.
Okay.
These things are normal. So now they prepare for 5 minutes. So now you go 6 or 7 minutes. Thank you, Julius.
Okay. Thanks so kindly. This person says, keep preaching cheap politics. Country around you are moving forward exponentially. Okay, I think he's talking to somebody. Those are not. That's what we have always done, brother. We use propaganda to come to power, and propaganda is meant to be facts. But we've always been making things wrong once we're in opposition. Somebody called himself Sir Thomas Jr. says, Julius, Jay, you as a journalist telling people they are partisans of other parties because of their views, but you call yourself independent journalists. Who I told say they are partisans because of their views? Nah, you got it wrong. Someone was saying something about George Wisner, and I was only telling them who George is. George doesn't have issues with that. Yeah, a whole lot of people don't know that he's a unity party man. And it is something that he has said over and over, and we know. When our so-called lawmakers stop stealing, then we'll be able to generate the money to develop Liberia. Okay. Let's take Frank Gibson now. So someone mentioned him, so that will be the final call. Frank, welcome. Let's hear you. What do you have to say?
Good afternoon, Julius. Frank Gibson, that call from Paris.
From all the way to Paris. How do we call it? Is it a city of love or a city of lights?
Paris, you know, we are told that it's the finest city in the world.
That was not my question, but there is a particular nickname way of calling Paris. It's a city of lights or city of love.
That's a city of love.
Okay, so what? A cité d'amour, right?
Cité d'amour, right?
Yeah, cité d'amour. Yeah. Oh, go ahead.
Thank you very much. You know, first of all, I want to express my regret about the fire issue on George Weah's house.
No, we have not come there. I didn't talk about it because at 5 o'clock we yeah, but no, don't go there. Don't go there. We will have a carousel at 5, and that will be part of the discussion.
Thank you very much. You know, I was just listening to President Bogai's speech. One thing I tried to look at President Bogai carefully today, he was very keen. Like he never wanted to be cut off, so he was rushing to end his speech. Based on that, he did not say anything tangible. That was a little bit sad by what President Bogai was talking about torture, talking about this thing like out of poverty. I don't know whether is a case now in court of torture. The entire security sector is being accused of torturing a Liberian citizen. Yet President Weir is trying to, President Walker is trying to say that Liberia is peaceful under those kind of conditions. When I talk about poverty, take the mic now into the marketplaces. People are telling you there are more poverty rate today in Liberia than 5 years back. So President Walker is trying to deceive the United Nations. Then when he talked about the 8.something billion United States dollars, I don't know where that was somebody said maybe it's a Liberian dollar you were talking about.
No, that speech was different from the one he delivered yesterday. But thanks so kindly, Frank.
Yeah, I know, but those are things we have to. All those speeches were made at the UN. We have to put them together and try to analyze them.
Thanks so kindly.
I was saying, Josh Westner was he's not being truthful on the past. Based on the analysis on the past, it's different from what he's doing today. And I think that's not being honest.
So what is the wrong thing that he said in his analysis? I thought he was objective. He made the perfect recommendations.
Yeah, objectivity should be balanced based on all the president's speech. Or when it comes to George
but what if we didn't deliver a very good speech that touched on the things that the speech needed to touch on? Then someone had to pacify that.
President Walker did today. That's exactly what President Walker's speech did not touch anything tangible on Liberia. In fact, he's not asking for another death weapon. He's not asking for another death weapon when 10.something billion was waived a few years back.
Okay.
So all the billions that came into Liberia, where are they going to?
Thanks so kindly. Frank Gibson, we'll hold you there. This is the OK Conversation on OKFM 99.5. That's where it is. We have with us Aliyu Kiadi, Secretary General of ANC Youth Congress. What is the ANC? Why M want to become in the poor party? You need to stop that. Welcome to the OK Conversation.
Thank you, Julius. Like you said, my name is Aliyu Kiadi, and I'm the Secretary General of the Indomitable National Youth Congress of the ANC.
So all the youth congresses will be indomitable now? No,
they are indefatigable, they are mighty, they are different things, but we are indomitable.
I can hear CDC you saying the Indomitable Revolutionary National Youth League.
Yeah, CDC is Youth League, Revolutionary Youth League. For us, we are Indomitable National Youth Congress.
What makes you indomitable? Because if you're indomitable, it's like you cannot be defeated. You are just whipped twice as a party in 2 successive elections, and the immediate past on very badly. That's not a spirit of indomitability.
It depends on what you qualify to be indomitable. If your perception is on the basis of winning election, then it might just be outside of the context of what we call indomitable.
What is your context?
Yes, so our context is a breakaway from the political status quo, where the material conditions in the country can only be measured by those 2 parties who have held power since 2005. So they are ultimately responsible for the material condition of the people. Our indomitable is a breakaway in a different style of leadership we intend to usher in. So that makes us indomitable in terms of our actions.
But how can we know that you're indomitable? There has to be a test. What is a test qualification for your indomitability?
Thank you. It's leadership. The best prediction for future performance is past performance and past record. You saw when the ANC held the leadership in the CPP, that was the most flourishing years of the CPP. That was our indomitable style of leadership. We asserted ourselves over the CPP. We won most of the seats across the country. That was leadership. When you turn to Senator Yombly, you saw the fracas in the CPP, and ultimately it derailed during the term of President Bouaka.
And then UP went away with others. You, with your indomitable spirit, you also went away, and you decided to test yourselves in the biggest river, and you drowned.
We can go on and discuss the circumstances leading to that you mentioned. So it's a whole big conversation that if we have the latitude, we can decipher as we proceed. But that's a big conversation.
Yeah, I was just trying to play around the indomitable.
Yeah,
and trying to put it to test.
Okay,
why should I believe that you are indomitable?
Firstly,
but that's okay.
The 2023 elections result defies common sense, and it was a national scheme meant to deface the ANC and our political leader. But that's by the way. We understood the circumstances that led to the results.
Well, evidence doesn't show so. Because there hasn't been any evidence to actually prove that. But let's move forward. What is happening with the ANC? What are you all going to be doing these few days? What is coming up?
The ANC, like any other political party, after the elections in 2023, we went back to our party. We had heart-to-heart conversations. We met in retreats. We discussed the issues. We to ourselves, and then we have to re-energize. We have to redefine what leadership should look like in the ANC. We have to bring people on board with the energy and spirit, with the passion to usher in the kind of leadership the ANC is envisioning. And that coincided with the fact that we needed to go for convention. So the convention is coming up, and the entire ANC, the leadership and political architecture in the ANC, is wrapping her head around this entire convention, trying to meet up with net guidelines, trying to fill in vacancies in our party, because recently the convention committee announced that all of the positions in the party are up for elections. So about 18 positions will be going for election in Mangibi next month from the 3rd to the 5th. So the 3rd is arrival day in Mangibi County, the 4th is the convention, and the 5th is departure. So that is where our focus is currently, trying to execute this convention thing and bring back.
When is it? When is the convention happening?
Mangibi Kakata.
I said when?
October 3rd to the 5th.
October. That's like a week after.
Yeah, that's next week.
Next week.
Next weekend.
Okay. October 3rd to the 5th. And give us more details. Who are expected to be there? What is it going to look like?
So, delegates from the party, each county is sending to the convention 4 delegates. So, you're talking about 15 counties, 4 delegates. We're going to have regional coordinators coming to the convention, the current National Executive Committee members, and some members from the ANC diaspora will also be present at the convention. And of course, the leadership and partisans of the ANC resident in Mangibi County will also join the convention to make it more lively. The political leader himself will be at the convention, and we are also extending.
But I thought you said all the positions are vacant.
Yes, I said all of the positions were announced for elections by the convention committee.
Okay, so when you get to the convention, then they will be vacant.
Yes.
There will be no political leader.
Yes,
no
everybody
chairman.
going for election.
Everybody goes for election.
Yeah.
Are people registering to contest for the various posts?
Oh yes, the politics in the ANC now is intriguing. In fact,
I'm not feeling it on the outside. I know I should be hosting one of those who want to be chairman maybe next week also, but that's the only thing. I've not seen any fervor. I've not felt anything like the way other parties will be doing it, and you will feel it on the radio, on social media, and everywhere else. But everything seems quiet around you. So cold.
So just this morning, there are too many things happening. Just this morning, I listened to OKFM. There was this slogan and jingle about the ANC convention. I'm following social media now. I'm seeing different jingles about the ANC convention. Flyers are out. Young people are running with it. Tendencies are being formed. People are executing political agenda. Like you mentioned, one of the candidates will be on your platform. I think he's coming to appeal to the hearts and minds of ANC supporters and who be delegates at the convention. So myself sitting here will be contesting at the convention.
As what?
As youth chairperson of the Indomitable National Youth Congress. Currently I'm the Secretary General, but I'm pushing forward for the national chairmanship of the Youth Congress. So there are internal party mechanism. Unlike other elections where you have to rally Liberians outside of the architecture of the party. But this one, the campaign is centralized within the party because you have to convince party delegates to be able to get elected at the convention. So we are campaigning within party space, but yes, the conversation is coming outside. We are on the radio. From here, we have different radio talk shows that are going, even in Kakata, Margibi County, we are going to be having conversation on the radio. Our slogans are out there, our flyers are out there, people are registering, people are campaigning in the party to get elected. And
how is the voting process going to look like? Like you have a number of delegates from each county, how many persons from each county will be voting and all that? We need to know all of those.
Yes, so 4 delegates from each county. That is the county chairperson, the secretary general of the county, the women chairperson of the county, and the youth chair of the county. Those 4 persons will be coming to represent the county as the county delegates. Then we have 6 regional coordinators that will also be coming to the convention as delegates. All of those currently in the National Executive Committee of the party, they are also coming to the convention as delegates. Then we have our ANC global branch. They will also be having representation at the convention. Then we obviously other moderate political party, friendly opposition will also be there, but not to participate in the voting process at the convention, but to give a kind of moral support or maybe solidarity stunt at the convention. And these things will be happening. People will be, and the voting is going to be secret ballot, by the way. NEC will have its representation there to witness all of the processes that ought to be followed with respect to law. So these things are in play, and campaign is heavily ongoing. We have to campaign within the party because the delegates, there's a sense in which they too have a fair appreciation of how leadership should look like in the ANC. They want leaders in the ANC that will be able to pick up the ANC from where it is currently to where we want the ANC to be in 2029. So leadership is key for our vision going forward to 2029. So we have to be very careful in selecting and vetting those leaders and ultimately making decision to get them elected.
So roughly how many voters are expected?
So we have roughly about close to 80 voters.
Is that not too small to determine the leadership of the party nationally?
No, it's not small. It's not small. It's representation or election in terms of delegates in the party.
And so will they do individual voting or block voting?
No, individual voting. That block voting is something that came from Joseph Boakai, the party. Is undemocratic in my view.
How come? I thought, okay, now
it should be one man, one vote.
Okay, now when you talk about people registering to contest, is there any indication that there will be anybody else registering for the political leader post?
What I know is that everybody in the party is free to contest for whatever position you want to contest for, insofar you meet the requirements. So it's on the basis of law and requirements, procedures in the party. So even I was sitting here, if I want to contest as political leader, I should meet the requirement to make me to contest or register for the post. So Mr. Kumi is going to elections as well. He's not the only permanent partisan in the ANC.
I can see him going on white ballot.
I wouldn't know. There are other people in the party.
But if anybody wanted to be political leader too, by now they will be canvassing, and you would know because they could approach you for your support and your vote and all of that. That hasn't happened.
The truth is, many people are approaching me, and myself, I'm approaching many people because I too want the votes.
For political leadership.
I too want the votes, right?
For political leadership.
For political leadership, yes. People are moving here and there. Like we said, the process is open to everybody.
No,
Mr. Cummings.
I get that part. Has anybody come to you and say, Kiadi, I want to be the political leader to supplant, to replace Mr. Cummings. I need your support. I need your vote. That's the question.
Yes.
Who?
No, I won't call the person.
But how you call the person? We know that Cummings is running.
Yes.
For the political leader.
Because he's the reason you know that Kumi is running because he's currently the political leader.
But you just came here and you told us that you are running.
Yeah.
I know someone who wants to be chairman that we have spoken. I'm arranging.
Who's the person?
To bring that person
Who's
here.
the person?
One, I think Dr. Sharif.
Okay.
Also, So why you don't want the country to know who the other person that wants to be political leader?
Because I'm not on. I feel like saying it who wants to be or who doesn't want to be. It seems like I'm marketing. For me.
No,
I'm here, Julius. I'm here to talk about the ANC convention.
Yeah,
but if you want to be specific and say who spoke to me in confidence that they want to run for the...
But I was supposed to be in confidence. Someone wants to lead this country. They want to be president.
The truth is, you know Mr. Kumi is contesting because he currently holds the political leader position in the party.
It is possible he could decide that he's not... he doesn't want to be president again, so he doesn't want to be political leader and all of that.
That's a possibility. Yeah, so it's possible.
So if someone wants to be president for this country through the ANC to be the political leader, then by now we should know that so person is also running for the ANC political leadership. You don't think so?
Yes, you say by now you should know, but if you are not knowing, I'm not in the position to say I'm campaigning in the ANC. I support Mr. Cummings' re-election.
I agree.
Right?
I didn't say.
So I support Mr. Cummings' re-election.
I was saying
in the ANC.
It was a simple
but then
question
asking me whether somebody else has approached me.
You that they want to be the political
I said
leader.
yes.
And who?
But he said who? I said no.
But why? Why you want to leave it in the dark?
No, for some reasons I'm not at liberty, or I will not oblige you that.
Does this mean that actually it is only Mr. Cummings so far?
According to you.
No, I'm asking you.
No. I just said somebody approached me. They said, does it mean it is only Mr. Cummings so far?
That you cannot reveal the name of the person.
Because I don't support that person.
Yeah, but just call their names.
And mentioning that name will elevate their conversation, and I don't want to do that.
Okay. What is the ANC thinking? We are inching towards 2029. We're in 2025. Yeah. Before you bat your eyes, we'll be in 2026. When there is already chatter, there's already discourse about 2029, but you're not hearing the ANC so much. What is this convention going to do to bring back momentum, to bring back fervor, to bring back the political clout that a political party needs to have, that its name is on the lips of everybody, the name of the political leader, whoever that person will be, Cummings or that ghost person whose name that we don't know. What is this convention going to do to bring back all of that?
Convention has a way of rejuvenating political party everywhere in the world, and the ANC is not an exception to that. What is going to be happening right after the convention? You're going to have new corps of leaders coming out of the ANC convention, energized and upbeat to start the political conversation in the country. And that is exactly what you're going to see the ANC doing. No, we hold a view like many Liberians now. I sat in the studio and listened to one of the callers. He said, I think there's a need now we break away from the shackles and contradictions of the Unity Party and the CDC. Now, to do that, you need a political party that is distinct, and the philosophy of that party, the leadership orientation of that party will ultimately usher in the kind of things we want to see happen in our country. And fairly, like we said, since 2005, these two parties have been there. So all of the conditions in the country can only be attributed to those two parties. If we really mean well for the country, it is only fair to say that Kumi's time. We have had the conversation about Joseph Boakai in 2023, and he said he was the most experienced person in the race. Today we are experiencing the experience. Too many contradictions in the system. Most of their governance agenda, you or journalist Julius, they crafted something called a rest agenda. And in that agenda, they told us that they need something around the neighborhood of 8-point-something billion, and 70% of that money should be coming from donor funding. A country that will anchor her development agenda or developmental document on the basis of getting funding from donor is problematic. And even as a government, we should be contributing 30% of that development funds towards achieving the rescue agenda. Unfortunately, the government spent less than $100 million towards its own rescue agenda, while it should be spending around $500 million to the achievement of that rescue agenda. So it tells you in summary that that document is there upon arrival. So you need a leadership that will be intentional about the things that should be happening in the country. Most of the things that people doing, they came to power, even during the campaign, they said they are going to attract foreign direct investment. That is a conversation we haven't seen happening. They are going to tackle jobs face on. The only solution so far the government has about jobs is to raid ghettos and beat on at-risk or disadvantaged youth in the ghettos. The rehabilitation question is not in the conversation. How do we rehabilitate those who have already fallen victim of a socially condemned livelihood? The government doesn't seem to have answer for that. So it's about the vicious cycle of leadership we have had in this country, and I think the ANC is a break away from the political status quo, and that's the kind of leadership we need. That's the kind of cool-headed leader we need, Mr. Cummings, who can say, look, we understand the economic condition in the country. Julius, every year that unemployed graduates and struggling degree holders in this country, no job. It's the government having conversation to create jobs for people who are qualified but yet don't have jobs. Do you think President Bouaka is able to solve that question? The answer is no. So these two parties, we do not find the solutions for Liberian people. We need people who are intentional and have the capacity to usher in those public goods. We contracted the rescue government to supply governance. Do we have that governance? What we have are myriad of contradictions that are partying all over the time.
What are the contradictions? Do you want to point to some?
Rule of law.
How?
We saw how politics defeated justice in the country. Even so, under President Bouaka government, it is now required that we have DNA result before alleged rape victims will be arrested, and that is why
that is perpetrators.
Yeah. So that is why in the ANC we are saying going forward, before Gregory Como and any police officer arrests alleged rape victim, there must be a DNA test conducted and should be verified that it was actually the DNA of that guy deposited on the victim, because that is the dangerous precedent they are setting. In the past, even in this government, when people are alleged of committing rape, the first thing police will not even ask you, mama, whether you did it or you not do it. They collect you and put you in jail. But because it is a rescue proponent who is involved, we are even receiving intelligence that the guy is outside of the country as we speak, and that needs to be verified. The government is setting a dangerous precedent that will provoke the people of Liberia to rise up in defense of ordinary people who must have committed or been alleged of committing similar crime. That is a dangerous precedent. So the rule of law is being butchered in this country. President Bouaka told our children will not be in the street during school hours. Today, take your camera in the street while schools are operating. Children are staying in the street. President Bouaka told all you was going to attract foreign direct investment. You tell me how many jobs the president have managed to create. Look at the situation at the University of Liberia. They condemn this, they condemn that. What are they doing differently? Today we're seeing some lawmakers going to Asido Meta in Nima County, negotiating things that are far from benefiting the people of Nima County. Those are the kind of things you call leadership in the country that have kept this country backward. We need a leadership that will break away from those status quo and start to do things like reasonable people in the country. And you need calm-headed leaders like Mr. Cummings, who is very articulate and clear in his vision what needs to happen in the country. You know, the good thing about Cummings,
it is one thing to talk about who he is and all of that. It is another thing for him, for his name to be on the lips of the public. That, okay, we see him as a new savior. We have tried UP, we have tried CDC, and we think now we should try Cummings. That kind of conversation isn't happening yet, and you agree to that, isn't it?
We have been in different quarters. We are hearing whisper from people, like right in your studio here, somebody said it. Now, in the ANC, we have a work to do, and we are dedicated to doing that work. Mr. Cummings, this is the time for him. At least there were 3 political actors on the stage. President Weah, former President Weah, today President Bouaka, and now the outstanding president is Mr. Cummings. We are seeing the leadership President Bouaka is giving us. Is it enough? Is it good enough to change what he meant? The answer is no. Liberians are beginning to whisper that there is a need for tier option, and that tier option is Mr. Cummings. There's no question. Ask Liberia across the country. There's no question about capacity. Any time you hear Mr. Cummings, people say, okay, Mr. Cummings is good. Mr. Cummings has the capacity to develop this country. He has the capacity to attract foreign direct investment, but you not get number. Unfortunately, we are the ones who are supposed to gain the number, Liberian people. You and myself, we don't want to gain anybody number. Nobody owns the people. The people are lying behind leaders who they think can benefit them. So if we think now that this time around there's a need for tier option, Mr. Cummings is your guy. There's no question about capacity. Okay. We need to make that case. And we are dedicated to make that case.
Let's put that to the public and see. 777-700-995. 555-995-995. The Alternative National Congress of Alexander Benedict Cummings goes to its convention next week. And of course, we have one of the stars here discussing the party. He says United Party has failed. CDC has failed. It is time for Cummings, who he describes as a level-headed, cool-headed leader with an outsider experience. It's now time to put him in the driving seat. 777-700-995, the number to call, and you will be true to the OK conversation. Why are these phones going off? You put them on, they go off. What's going on? Okay. We have with us Aliu Kadi. Let me I remember my days debating against Comrade Aliu V. Kadi during our days competing in the Liberia Inter-Universities Debate Championship. He's a very fine gentleman. Although I'm not a member of ANC, nor do I wish to be, I fully support his bid for the position of AMC Youth Chairperson. Ali has demonstrated strong commitment and dedication to that party. It is only fair that he is rewarded with his role in recognition of his contributions. Eugene Williams, he calls himself 4 times trophy winning former captain of UNU debate team. The guy used to whip you. I just sat on there, people just winning. Yeah, the man said 4 times debate winning captain.
Stella Maris you are playing.
But the fact that the man won and you were in the tournament, but you were in the tournament, so if it means that someone put you out.
All the tournament.
Okay, let's just leave that one. Zach Bembo. Good afternoon, Julius. Cummings may have good intent, but he will still need those same guys who have served in government, even some of those that are currently serving as a result of tenure position. Liberians need to be sincere, and this country will get better. That's Zach Bembo. Let's take this call. Welcome. Let's hear you.
Thank you, Julius. This is Joseph
Blake. Blake, you got to.
Sorry for the feedback.
Yeah.
Sorry for the feedback, Julius. Is it better now?
Yes, go ahead.
Let me say good evening to your studio guest. I don't know whether it's the evening. Julius, I kind of tuned in a little late, but then I listened to his analysis closer to the end. And this is what I say, that most of the time we that want to support our political parties are very disingenuous to the debates, right? He made mention of lawmakers. He's trying to cut the dark cloud on this regime by saying that lawmakers went to a Metal Steel to negotiate a deal with Metal Steel. He has absolutely no proof to that. He cannot tell us what the negotiations are about. He's insinuating that for the fact that lawmakers leave Monrovia and go to Nimba County, they are going to extort money. This is the intellectual that is telling us to follow Alexander Cummings, right? So if that's your analysis...
But Blake, do you know why the lawmakers went there?
So should I conclude that because the lawmaker went there, so they went to extort money?
Yeah. So no, but if you say he is wrong, then you should have an alternative answer to why he.
Why the lawmakers went there? The lawmakers were clear. They stated why they went there.
Why?
They have what we call oversight. They have oversight responsibility.
Okay.
Metal Steel is requesting for an extension to.
So do you
You asked me now, so I want to provide why they went there. I'm telling you why they went there. So let he give us the contrary to what I'm saying.
So do you disagree with what Senator Nyan Twain posted about his colleagues going there?
Senator Nyan Twain has the right to advocate for his people. Senator Nyan Twain is talking about what Aslam Mita should have done and did not do, and they need to do those things. And 100%.
Didn't he also talk about underhanded things happening?
Senator Nyatwaye is the senator of Nimba County. I think in the respect or expediency tells you that when you are visiting my county, I should be in the know.
But the question I'm asking, he made similar claims as he was making. So that is why I'm saying, do you?
Nyatwaye was not emphatic in his claims. He is saying the people went undercover to his county to meet Metal Steel. What this gentleman is saying is that they went to negotiate for kickback. That's what he said clearly. So he should prove that. The honor is on him to prove that the lawmaker went to extort or to take money from Metal Steel. That is not on me, Julius. Yeah, he said that. I am just challenging that, whether it's objective or it's subjective. If it's a subjective reasoning from his part, then that is that issue that we cannot talk about. If it's objective, if he's speaking objectively, then he should give us the facts, because that's what objective argument is all about. And I don't think he's been objective in this argument.
This is the first post.
To follow a leader and he's not objective in his analysis, then even a leader that he's following is not worthy of following him.
Okay, so let him. Why do you want him to give an objective analysis as an opposition?
Objectivism in the discourse is not opposition based. Objectivism in the discourse is national interest based. So being objective in your analysis is not from a political spectrum.
Okay, so do you know of any opposition party in this country that has adopted an objective posture towards the party in power?
When oppositions analyze issues and suggest to the ruling parties possible outcomes in terms of what they should do in governing the state, they are objective. And I've seen political parties that have done that. Unity Party did that to
when?
the CDC.
United Party was objective in that discourse with CDC.
They were objective in analyzing. Julius.
Yeah, Blake. Okay, Blake. Thank you, Blake. You are laughing. Thank you. I know that you are laughing, or that someone in the car laughing. Welcome. Let's hear you. What's your name?
My name is James Lynch Mumbo Julius, and I call from Painesville.
Go ahead, sir. The president of the
Project Monitoring.
Yeah, go ahead. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, okay, Julius, I listened to your guest, and I'm inclined to take the side of Blake on this conversation, and particularly to disagree with you that just because somebody is in opposition, they cannot be objective. The role of the opposition is to provide objective information.
I didn't say so. I was only asking Blake if he knows of an opposition party that has adopted an objective posture to any government. That is what I was asking.
Okay, and I'm submitting here, Julius, that we should all encourage opposition political parties, all right, to be objective, to tell the people our truth.
Beginning now.
No, it doesn't matter where it starts from, Julius. I'm not concerned about what era it starts from. I'm saying our people deserves to know the truth. And objective politicking is about you seeing wrong or seeing government doing something that is contrary to national development and coming up with policy prescription. Not just criticizing. We need to change the politics.
Okay.
Because we can say, because the way it was done in 1980, we got to continue to 2030. I mean, it doesn't make any sense for all to be doing the same thing.
So what is it that he said that was not?
So he said that lawmakers went to ArcelorMittal to go and negotiate for kickback. I thought that was veering off the reason why he went to the city in the first place. Lawmakers went there to exercise their oversight, to talk about the MDA and other issues. So if you have no iota of proof, then you can't be making that statement as somebody who, gone to represent your political party or your political leader.
Okay.
We need to change the way we organize.
So do you have any explanation for why the lawmakers went the way that they went and all of that, with a whole lot of their colleagues not aware of their going there, while they are on break and all those kinds of things?
Okay, so Julius, there's been a back and forth between the NEMA lawmaker and the rest of the lawmakers, they know what they're squabbling, and that is not the meat of the matter here. And when I say I was taking the side of Blake, I was saying that your studio guest cannot come and throw information that he does not have the facts for.
Okay, so let us wait and ask him whether he has the fact. You can say the man doesn't have. So we'll ask him. But thanks so kindly. Thanks for your call. Let me read what Nyan Twain wrote. The first one he wrote was ArcelorMittal taking some senators and representatives for luxury tour of AML concession area does not negate the fact that you are in gross violation of the Mineral Development Agreement until the people of Nimba and Liberia benefit as per the terms and conditions laid out in the agreement. You are doomed to be used or doomed for non-renewal. We dare any heartless lawmaker to turn a blind eye on the egregious violations and neglects to vote for renewals. We dare any member of the executive, IMCC, to bring to the legislature any such agreement for ratification amidst all the non-compliant clauses since the 2007 review of the AML agreement. Stop wasting your time and do the needful. Fun fact, AML admitted under oath that the plan below worth 250 million and not 1.4 billion as previously announced. Then he wrote again, unbeknownst to me as lawmaker, as member of the concession committee and the Nimba Legislative Caucus, ArcelorMittal has more than 25 lawmakers visiting Nimba for a secret meeting as of this post. I'm here for my regular county engagement with citizens and very surprised to see my legislative colleagues invited by AML for reasons sans oblivious. He went back after the lawmakers had written their position while they were there. He said, I read a statement from the Joint Legislative Committee on MDA Compliance trying to justify their luxury trip to AML. To begin with, there are only two legislative joint committees of the legislature, Public Accounts and Modernization, which I chair. Besides these two, any other joint committee must be authorized by plenary of both houses and or the leaderships. More so, the legislature is on break, and as such, the formation and operations of any joint committee must be authorized by the leadership of the Senate and the House of Representatives. As of this post, there is no such authorization from the Senate leadership. There was no mention of a trip to AML in the Senate workroom, and there was no mention of this visit in the concession committee chat room that I'm a part. I call on the leadership of both houses to investigate this surreptitious trip to ArcelorMittal concession so as to not undermine the ongoing hearing of AML at the Liberian Senate. I'm also reliably informed by a member of the Interministerial Committee on Concession from the executive branch that AML has failed to attend a called meeting to discuss their operations, among other things, but instead chose to lure some lawmakers for a meeting for sinister reasons. I can assure the people of Nimba that gone are the days of corporate mischiefs at the expense of our people. As Senator of Nimba, Liberia, I, along with lawmakers who are willing, will fight to see the best for our people without fear, favor, or alignment. AML must correct the wrongs of the past, improve the current conditions, and ensure full implementation of the MDA as stipulated or risked being sued for renewal. Well, I think we should direct this angle at Nyana. Everything, because the man, they think the mentor say, where's the what the boy has done? Well, anyway, let's say a few more calls. I don't know if our other guests is here. But we'll try our best. Maybe we'll try to see if we can bring you in soon. Senator Twine, welcome. Let's hear you.
Well, I'll tell you, Julius.
Yes, go ahead. Hello? This person says, NS Belly says, he who goes through the window instead of the door is usually seen as a thief. The few senators who visited Nimba have bad motives. Okay. Welcome. Let's hear you. Yes, go ahead.
My name is Laura Zankoli, and I call on the belly with Benzio. I dare my Unity Party friends to say that they were getting opposition. They amplify everything and everything they give it here, give it to you, and even lie for most of the thing. Why not direct your anger at Daros DeLong and Yantuan and say that and just attack one person? I think it's unfortunate. The Unity Party and the likes have no moral ground to critique what the Young Men Institute, the GM brother, is saying. So let them go and direct the anger somewhere. All that he's saying, that was the same thing they trumpet there, and they don't have no moral ground, moral standing to speak on any issue of justice in our country. Thank you.
So where do you stand on ANC and their convention and Mr. Cummings?
It's their right to recalibrate. Every political institution will do such and re-energize. It's left to the Liberian people how well they sell their candidate. Is left with them. Liberian people will decide in 2029 whether they will gravitate to them or not.
Thanks so kindly as well. Welcome. Let's hear you.
Hello.
Yes, go ahead.
Okay, Julius, good afternoon.
Mm-hmm.
And also, let me say good afternoon to your studio guest, Mr. Ali. My name is Professor. I'm calling you from Labasi. So quickly to the issue, I want to extend thanks to Mr. Ali for coming on the air. I'm happy that Ali is in and start taking some steps towards 2029. I think those of us who are not serious about women, we need to be serious right now. 2029 and it will be very, very crucial. And I think we need another person to try instead of using the CDC and the UP.